Alright,
If you
POE
find a
2
support gem, then
gems.
clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can pick between.
Okay.
For example, this is a multiple projectiles support gem and can be used to add multiple projectiles to any skill.
Not even a lesser? You
Normally,
start
when
off with
fire a
the
grenade, it'll look like
regular?
this.
Okay.
But if
It's
we add
probably
multiple
just an intro
projectiles,
to
then
it.
You get 3 of them.
Yeah. What about
Once you have
GMP?
the gem, you can also freely move it between any of the skills in your character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high-velocity round skill.
Oh, so it
Generally
shoots them
speaking, if it sounds like a
straight?
support gem should work with a skill, then it will work. So it's a good idea to experiment. Note that you can only have one of each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage.
Oh, so you can't run this, like 2
Now,
of the
if
same,
you want
even
to
if it's a
stick to the
different skill?
recommendations, you should have a perfectly good time. But if you want to experiment a bit more, then uncheck that recommended button. And you can
Yes.
see the full list of supports that will work.
Yeah,
with
that's
your
really
skill.
good for beginners,
There are
too.
hundreds of support gems to choose from, and even we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact. Each skill can have up to
Awesome.
5 supports socketed into it.
Okay, so
And if you're
6 is
clever,
still
you can
max?
come up with some pretty interesting ideas. Now, all of this is just scratching the surface. You can make frost vortexes, break people's armor, make minions explode, make skills repeat, make enemies set each other on fire, cull enemies, or pin them to the ground. Supports let you drastically change the behavior of your skills and create your own unique build, or at least follow someone's OP build guide.
I like how they
Speaking of
mentioned that.
builds, let's talk about one of the
Yes.
most iconic Path of Exile systems.
So there's the gem system and then the
passive
passives for POE 2.
Yes, it's huge.
Is it
There
the
are over
same or
1,500
different?
nodes on there. Now, a lot of people open the tree and can get a little intimidated at first, but try not to be scared. There are lots of options, but at its core, it's pretty simple. Each level you get 1 point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way.
Oh wait, on some of those
But
you
if
can
do
choose
happen
what
to
you
make a
want.
choice you regret,
That's definitely
you'll
new.
be able to respec any nodes you've taken by spending a little bit of gold.
Okay.
Now, the tree is generally divided up into clusters which have similar themes. In each cluster you will find small nodes that give simple bonuses like increased damage, but the real power comes from notables. Notables normally have much more interesting bonuses, and they tend to care a lot more about how your build works and what skills you're using. For example, in the mercenary area of the tree, this one gives a 25% chance for crossbow skills to not consume a bolt. And here's one that gives grenades a chance to blow up a second time.
That's a pretty good one, like
This one
double
gives a chance
damage.
for projectiles to rebound off terrain, as
Ooh.
well as giving you some pierce chance to make that more likely.
Okay.
Note that even though this is in the mercenary section, this would work with projectiles from all classes. So there
Okay.
are often reasons to go to different areas of
I'm,
the tree.
I'm so far 100% lighting arrow
To
with
get
that.
Between these clusters, you will generally have to
I like
allocate
that.
nodes in the attribute highways. Attribute nodes allow you to pick which attribute you would like to
That's
use.
so much better.
It's very easy to get
Yeah.
points for any attribute that your gear might need. You can change which attribute these nodes give you
Ah.
for half price at the respec vendor.
Okay.
In addition to notables, you will also find even larger
Chaos
assets
inoculation?
called
Ah, it
keystones.
is, man.
Keystones have both an upside and a downside, and often require changing your entire build to design around them. A great example is Giant's Blood, which allows you to wield 2-hand weapons in a single hand, but doubles the attribute requirements of them.
That's
You
cool.
can use a
I
two-hand
like
mace
that,
with a
man.
shield, or even dual wield them.
Dude, dual two-handers. Let's go. Double chaos.
Well,
Dude,
how
that's
much
gonna be
mine doesn't
so
matter,
cool.
Which makes all damage go to your mana pool first before your life pool, but you lose 50% of your mana regen. Skills like these can be tough to
Yeah,
build
this is
with,
the kind of stuff
but
that I
if you're up for the
really love
challenge, it
POE
can be
for.
Very rewarding. As we showed you earlier on the Sorceress, you can swap between weapon sets on the fly as you use certain skills. One of the new features in Path of Exile
Oh,
2's
yes, this
passive
is
tree
cool.
is that you can
Man.
choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon sets
Heck
to take
yes.
advantage of specific bonuses on the tree. For the Sorceress, you might want to change between fire and lightning specialization. Or you could switch between one hand and a two-hand setup in order to be able to block boss attacks while following up with heavy hits from your bigger mace.
That seems really cool too, though, like the
Perhaps you could have a full
block.
curse setup on your witch to debuff enemies before switching to a chaos degen build for maximum damage.
Especially if it's got good animation canceling, that could be really fun for the
If you want to
bosses.
stick with just one weapon set, you can just use these specialization points as bonus points to invest however you like. but creative players will find plenty of
Oh yeah,
opportunities
the
with
fact that
this
you can
system.
swap weapons and it swaps the thing, dude, that's
Get
so
weapon
cool.
specialization points throughout the campaign from optional bosses and quests. For example, if I manage to defeat the Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book.
Ah, okay.
There are lots of other permanent
It's the
boosts
map?
available.
Wait,
through
how
the
many
campaign
acts?
too.
6,
On the map,
7,
you can see
8, 9.
icons that
So it's
indicate
9
many
acts?
optional encounters you can
But
find.
I'm guessing you can only
Some
play
of
up to
them have
6.
permanent character boosts, and others have powerful items. If you're having trouble getting past a boss, it might be a good idea to explore and see what you can find. For example, if you defeat Blackjaw the Remnant, you'll gain a permanent increase to fire resistance.
Okay.
One of the most important finds are spirit bonuses. You can find the first one here in the canopy in Act 1. Defeat the boss in this area to acquire a permanent addition of spirit. The permanent buffs you gain from spirit are very powerful, and every class will find a use for them, so make sure you hunt down these upgrades. There's one in each act.
Okay.
Now we haven't even talked about the most important element of character progression, items. That's why we're all here, right? Items in Path of Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique.
Quill Rain!
One of the things
Yeah.
you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with 1 mod. You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a 2nd mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a 3rd mod, and upgrade it to a rare. Finally, you can use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total of 6 mods. One of the things we think is really important is to make these options available to use as you play. All the items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1.
Oh, that's really
You can
good.
use them throughout your campaign
Yeah, especially
playthrough.
with like Exalted. I think
We
that's a
want
good
you to find
idea.
things on the ground that can be crafted into upgrades much more frequently.
But what about those divines though? Is
As
that
well as making the
still
dot rates on these
for
items
crafting?
much more common, you
Disenchant-
can also get them
oh!
by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item.
Dude, that's
bin.
so
If you
beginner
disenchant
friendly.
Magic items you can build up to an
Oh!
Orb of Transmutation, and by disenchanting rares you can build up to Regal Orbs.
Oh, just only up to
Another
Regal. What about
important area
Chaos?
of crafting items
Chaos
in POE
recipe
2
still,
is
or-
sockets. Some items you find will have sockets that can have Ezomite runes placed in them that add more mods to the item. If I insert this glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance. This is
Can
a
I
great way
unsock
to
it for
solve
free?
problems that you have with your build, like resistances or
Once
damage.
socketed, it cannot be
If you find
removed.
socketed
It's
items
permanent,
that you don't have use
guys.
for, you can take them to the salvage bench in town to work towards an artificer's orb.
Oh.
This will allow you to add sockets to your existing
Oh, so it's like
items.
really easy. Okay, so this is
Body
fine.
armors and 2-hand weapons can have up to 2 sockets, while the rest of your armor and 1-hand weapons can only have 1 socket.
Okay.
You can also salvage items with quality to create items like armor scraps or whetstones. These will allow you to increase the quality of your items for an up to 20% boost.
Oh, so it's like same as POE 1.
If you don't want to disenchant or salvage your items, you can always sell them for gold. Gold can be used to buy items from vendors, and we've tried to do a lot to make sure that the items they have for sale are actually useful.
Dude, that Diablo shade.
So make sure to check back often. Other vendors offer a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random item of a specific type. This could be a great way to improve your gear, if you're lucky. Gold is also used to respec your passive skills. Take advantage of this system to experiment with your tree and rework it as required. The other thing you might want to use gold for is the currency exchange. This allows you to exchange currency items with other
Oh,
players on
they
an
literally
open
took that
market
from the last
in
season of
exchange for a
POE.
small gold fee.
Okay, that's still good.
All items
That's
in Path
good.
of Exile are
Really good.
freely tradable.
Yes,
Never bind anything to
yes,
your character,
yes,
except gold.
yes. Oh, that's fine. Which makes sense. But can you trade the gold?
Now, most gear
Or
in
they
Path
said
of
it was
Exile 2 is randomly
bind though,
generated,
right?
But there's another type that isn't. Uniques. They are especially rare, each with a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can dramatically change a character's build. They're not just better rare items, they can do much stranger things that can fundamentally change your
40%
character.
movement speed randomly? I don't know if I'd
Corpse
use
Wave
that.
will
but-
make any corpses you run through explode into clouds of poison.
Dude, you run that with flicker
Ascendance
stuff.
itself is a body armor that changes your dodge roll into a blink, morphing you into
Okay.
sand as you teleport past your foes. And of
okay.
course, some uniques are just pure hits of dopamine.
Yes.
Quill Rain, which just turns your bow attacks into full auto by doubling your attack speed. Each unique is something that you can build your character around. We try to make sure that most unique items have a potential use at endgame, even if
Awesome.
you find them early on.
Cool,
And as you
cool.
can see, every single unique item comes with custom art to match.
Remember, your
The
POE
last
1
character progression system
cosmetics
you can
will
do
work
during the
too.
campaign is Ascension. Starting in Act 2, you will come across Ascension trials.
Oh.
Tests that you must complete to unlock your Ascension class. We'll explain these trials soon, but first let's take a look at what Ascending can do for your character. Each class has access to 3 Ascendancy classes, but at the start of early access, only 2 per class will be available.
Okay, that's fine.
Ascendancy classes are unique to each character class, so choose wisely. They can drastically affect how you build your character. As a sorceress, you could become a Stormweaver, a master of the elements. Tempest Caller causes elemental storms to be summoned each time you do a critical hit with a spell.
Ooh.
With Strike twice, you can stack 2 copies of Shock for more damage.
Wow.
And going deeper into the tree, you can make all your damage types apply Shock. Make a Shock build from any skill. Alternatively, you could become a Chronomancer and command time itself. She literally has the ability to stop time with Time Freeze. Not only that,
does it work against bosses though?
Abilities. Using Temporal Rift, she can teleport back to a previous location, resetting her life.
Dang, I trace her.
Or with Time Snap, she can reset all her cooldowns and cast all her spells again.
See, this is the kind of stuff that I think is
On
really
the
cool
warrior,
with Path of
you can choose between
Exile.
the Warbringer or the Titan. The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using Answered Call, you can summon ancestral spirits linked to each of your totems. With Jade
Physics looks so good
you can
too.
encase your body in a protective layer that absorbs all damage until it breaks.
It's like Zanya's Hourglass from
Warcaller's
League of
power
Legends.
allows you to explode
Holy!
the corpses of your enemies. And with Great Wolf's Howl, you can ignore the cooldowns of your war cries. Let all that anger out.
Dude, especially when you have the Warcries gain infinite
Titan
power,
class is
if that
all
item
about
still
thing
exists,
big.
for what it's called, but...
With Earthbreaker, every slam is a chance to create an aftershock. With Crushing Impacts, every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease. With Surprising Strength, you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage. As a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down foes with style. With Endless Munitions, every attack gains an extra projectile.
Okay.
With Gathering Winds, she gains a small increase to
This is
movement
just like
speed with every
POE
attack.
1.
But be careful, she loses them when getting hit. With Eagle Eyes, she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on accuracy. Alternatively, you could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison. She can choose from one of several throwable concoctions, allowing her to spend her flask charges to throw explosive bottles that deal various types of damage. A bleeding concoction will make your enemies bleed, while a fulminating one can shock your enemies, allowing you to do extra damage. Contagious Contamination allows her to spread poisons between her foes.
Extra
while
projectiles
overwhelming toxicity
super
doubles the
good.
number of stacks they can be infected by. Running Assault allows her to move much more quickly while firing, while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies. The Witch can ascend into the Infernalist or the Blood Mage.
Oh, okay.
As an Infernalist, she can
see.
summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage if the Infernalist gets hit. With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame. As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take damage. Using Bringer of Flame, you'll want to make sure you keep the flames topped up. While your Infernal Flame is above 30%, all damage from you and your minions will ignite enemies. She can also transform into a literal demon.
What?
While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage. But her cast speed and damage
Dude, okay,
increase
I think we gotta
rapidly
play
as well.
this.
So if you're
That's too
planning on
cool.
transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery. She can also become a blood mage, a master of life and energy. All blood mages must pay.
Dude, if we could become a succubus,
skills cost life as
that's
well
cool.
as mana. But in exchange, every monster they kill will drop life remnants, which allow them to quickly gain back that life. With Crimson Power, she can gain large amounts of extra life, and with Vitality Siphon, she can use her spells to leech life back as well. Once you've got a significant amount of life, you can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits deal incredible amounts of damage. A monk who is in tune with the elements might become an Invoker. With Elemental Expression, the Invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With Faith as a choice, you gain the ability to meditate, allowing you to double your energy shield. Choose between I am the Blizzard or I am the Thunder to specialize in cold or lightning. And I Shall Rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar.
So wait, the monk can transform
Each time you
too?
apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more elemental ailments.
I'm hoping you can play like some sort of
monks choose
fist
to
build.
reach into the darkness instead.
Oh, cause
The
is this
Acolyte
it?
of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and deal damage. The Shroud of Darkness will protect you from all damage incoming, but if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have. Their Dark Pact offers greatly increased resistances to chaos damage and can allow their mana leech to not only happen instantly, but apply to their energy shield as well. Another node you can take is Waking Dream, which allows you to see into the domain of the Breach Demons. There you will see the Flames of Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage. The Mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits you? You might choose to become a Witch Hunter. Obsessive Rituals will give you a sorcery ward, allowing you to defend yourself against elemental hits in exchange for less defense against attacks. With Zealous Inquisition, your enemies have a 10% chance to explode on death. The chance is doubled against demons and undead.
Okay, it's
With
kind of cool.
Judge, Jury, and Executioner, your
Yeah,
initial hit
remember
against
with that
enemies can
explodey
deal
chest
30%
back in
of
the
their
day?
life and damage, if you're lucky. This is great for hunting powerful bosses. And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do. You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly in your flesh.
What?
Integrated efficiency will give you
Three?
extra skill
What?
slots.
Dude, that is insane.
Mythological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistance.
That's
to
gotta
attacks
be
you
the
suck up with normal
best,
support
dude.
gems.
3 extra skill
Adaptive
slots?
capability allows you to use any color of gem.
Dude, this is the best class.
attributes.
Although I'm probably gonna play the Demon
adds
Girl.
Extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into your character.
What? 12 to
Those
all
are the
the
Ascendancy classes for the start.
12% quality on all the
One thing
gens
we haven't talked
and
about
3
yet is how you
extra?
ascend in the first place.
I don't know how you
Ascension
compete with
and
that.
Path of Exile 2
That's
requires
crazy.
completion of one of the great trials.
Okay, let's
which
see
you'll
this.
find as you progress through the campaign. Each one is associated with one of the major cultures of Rayclast.
So yeah, those are all the
Located
classes
on
at launch, but
Visteri Plains
there
of the
are
Marrakech,
more. I
a
think
culture
6 more?
of rich tales and brutal traditions, who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Marrakech culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely. All aspirants must complete the Trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength, will, cunning, and patience. To enter, a warrior of the Marrakech must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a djinn in a coin, and you are no different. Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed in the relic altar to begin the trial.
Just the way the game like
In the
is
trial of the
shown
Sekimas,
is so
each
well
room
done
has its
too,
own
man.
challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the room. Once the chalice is filled, you will be able to proceed. While fighting monsters in the trial, you will need to be very careful. Each hit will not only hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters are well telegraphed, so that you can avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial and need to find another coin in order to try again. It is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the Trial of the Sekimas. After each room, you will be rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you wish to proceed. Which challenges would you like to face, and which rewards do you want to claim? Some rooms are more dangerous, afflicting you with debuffs that will persist for the entire trial. For example, entering this room will afflict you with Spiked Shell that will cause all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life. You will want to take care if you choose such a path. There are many different challenges and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor. As you progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the Jinn, which will help you on your journey. For example, the Sekima's cloak will revive you once if you die, giving you a second shot at a run. One of the rewards you may find is Sacred Water, an extremely valuable and treasured resource to the Jinn and the Marrakech. Trading it with the Jinn will allow you to receive many benefits. You can recover honor, gain additional boons, or remove afflictions. At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will truly test your limitations. In order to ascend, you will need to defeat him.
Okay, that's cool. I've always actually liked the Ascend, like especially the very first time you do it. It's exciting.
Having defeated the boss, you've earned the right to ascend. But first, the loot. The keys you have found may be used to open the various treasures in the vault at the end of the floor.
Let's see what they
You
get.
only have a single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys. Let's use the Altar of Ascendancy. Your first ascension will allow you to pick your class and
Dude,
grant you 2
Infernalist
points to use in
is
the
so
tree.
cool, man.
Now there are more flaws and many
transformation.
more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Secumus.
But that
We'll
triple
save that
gen
for
one,
section on the end game.
I can't
And
deny
now
it.
let's
Like,
talk
that's
about
got
the
to be the
second
best.
Ascendancy Trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Secumus is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try another. You can gain all your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a 3rd trial coming later for the full release.
Nice.
While exploring the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was once used by the Vaal to test their high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything to gain power. Entry to the trial requires a token from a strange entity known only as the Trial Master. For those in which he sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum. Many have attempted these trials in search of greatness. Most have perished. Will you be able to defy the odds?
Ultimate was probably my
Before you begin
favorite
each
league,
chamber,
man. I
the
like
Trial
that league.
Master will offer you a reward and a choice. Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial. These modifiers might beef up the monsters, curse the player, or add environmental hazards like turrets or trap runes. In this case, we will be picking shocking turrets. As you enter the room, the Trial Master will fill it with hazards to test your commitment. In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the room, while dealing with the lightning projectiles from the shocking turrets. After each room, you will need to make a choice. Take the rewards you have earned so far, or go double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk.
I like it,
Each
yeah. It makes
tribulation
it
you
fun.
add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming.
I like it because it's like a
There are
risk
many
reward
types of
without
trainers
like
in the trial.
playing
Each will
hardcore.
test your resolve
You
in
know?
different ways.
You still lose
This
out on
one
your
simply
items.
requires you survive for a certain amount of time. Another requires you to escort the stone idol through the level as elevators full of monsters descend to attack you. Should you be able to get through the first 3 chambers, you will face your first boss.
Ooh, okay.
The order of the bosses is random, and combined with the tribulations you have selected, the fight will never feel the same. After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course there are the items, but you also gain the right to ascend. If you already did the Trial of the Secumus, then you can claim 2 more points to add to your Ascendancy class.
So you get 4 total in the
Now, it's possible to
beta.
go much deeper. There are more bosses, rewards, and risks to take, but we'll talk more about that when we get to endgame.
Ooh, I can't wait to
So
see
how
that.
about we talk about that now?
Oh, endgame? Oh, okay.
So far, we've
I'll
only
cut it
shown
right
you
here,
footage
man.
from the
We got to
campaign.
see the endgame in a
Some
separate
people
one.